Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. Today I'm excited to have Mr. Biegel back.
What's good, guys?
So super excited to have him back. Last week was a short week. He was working for the Philadelphia Eagles, so he had to take care of his business. So I understand, and he was able to help him out because now they're 8-0. And with that being said, our records from last week. Mine was kind of decent. Beagle didn't do as well. Beagle last week went 6-7, but he's up pretty big, so it's not like it really hurt him at all. He is 81 wins, 54 losses, and one tie. So he's almost to 100 already. I went 9-4 last week, so getting better. But I am 69 wins, 66 losses, and one tie. So still pretty far away from Beagle. I really don't think I'm going to catch him. And Beagle, I actually added up or not added up, but on my other old journal of what our records were, and I forget what the number was, but through playoffs and everything, our overall total record, I only had 3 more wins than you.
Yeah, I remember it was close last year.
So last year was close, and this year is probably not going to be close. So, if I win this year, or if I won last year, you win this year, and then next year, we'll have to see who breaks that tiebreaker.
Yes, we got you.
So I'm excited for that. But we're going to go straight into the NFL news. There we go. And we're first going to talk about Tom Brady. We're going to talk about the GOAT because he now has 100,000 passing yards. He has the most ever. He already had the most ever by passing Drew Brees, but now he has 100K. Beagle, the reason I bring this up is because, one, it's a milestone, and two, they're having a bad season this year. So is he just going for stats now, or is he trying to win another ring still? What do you think?
Well, I know they're first in the division right now because
Somehow.
the NFC's just not good. So I think he's trying to play at least win and at least get one of those playoff spots.
Mm-hmm.
He's not with LeBron and the Lakers right now where they're just out here where he's just trying to get stats to make his legs a little better. I feel like now he's trying to, prove that he's, trying to make up for last season, having his playoff choke and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's definitely got a little something to prove, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see if he, after this season, if he for real retires this year.
No, and I actually kind of have to agree with you there because it's like, okay, does he really look at his life and he's like, okay, I just got a divorce, now I want to spend time with my kids, your personal life really does affect, your professional career as well. So I think he's really going to take a step back and really evaluate after this season. But I think this is just a crazy milestone because no one has 100K. I think the only person who could potentially reach this is Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that's not a bad assumption right there because he's like one of the few players over the past couple of years it's like constantly in like the top 3 in passing yards. So yeah, he's probably closest that can.
Exactly. So, I think he's definitely getting the stats up there, along with him. But like you said, he's going for at least a playoff spot and seeing what he can get this year. Now, it's kind of funny because we're going to talk about the Bears and the Colts, not on purpose here, but just, with the NFL news going on. The Colts decide to fire their head coach, Frank Reich, which I think that it was finally time to move on and to go somewhere else. Just, kind of do a fresh start. Like I said, we need to, start with a fresh QB. I know we've been, shuffling around a lot, since losing Andrew Luck. So I think, maybe this is the time that we really start fresh. But with that being said, I had no idea that this was going to be our intern head coach. But Mr. Jeff Saturday, who played under center for Peyton Manning, he is now going to be our intern head coach for at least probably the rest of this season. I'll give my opinion about this, but Beagle, do you think that's a good move, or how do you feel about it here?
I mean, I know the record definitely showed that it was probably time for some sort of change in Indy, but when I first saw on TV it was Jeff Saturday, I had no idea that he was even on your guys' coaching staff. That really hit me sideways, but. I don't know anything about his coaching. I think I read that he coached a little bit of high school, but he was under Peyton Manning, so hopefully some of Peyton's leadership it can at least help the Colts salvage what kind of season they have left.
And
definitely hit me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that because I was literally watching First Take a week ago, I believe, and Jeff Saturday was on First Take with freaking Stephen A. Smith. So just to kind of see that, Jeff Saturday is now the intern head coach, I had no idea, wasn't expecting that at all. So I think, he's just going to try his best with what he has and the roster that he has. And I think that, I think we'll get a new coach, obviously at the end of this year, starting next year. But Jeff Saturday's just trying to keep it together and finish out the season strong, like you said. Now we're going to talk about Roquan Smith. The reason I bring up Roquan Smith is because he's now on the Baltimore Ravens, and he played pretty well versus the Saints on Monday Night Football. Really, held that defense together. Being a veteran and being a leader. What I want to ask you, Biegel, here is, will he be the reason they win a Super Bowl?
The Ravens.
The Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens defense is facing some pretty hardship with was Patrick Queen, I think's out with a season-ending injury. One of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're facing a lot of injuries right now in the secondary. So I feel like he's a top 5 linebacker in the league. I know he was leading the league in tackles for the longest time. I think he still was when he was in that last little stint in Chicago. But no, he fits the system real well. I know I said defense was one of the reasons why the Ravens weren't winning. Because they're giving up so many points and blowing those leads.
Mm-hmm.
Now got some more support maybe not this year, but I think maybe next year they can definitely come for the AFC North and possibly have a chance to run the Super Bowl. Now the AFC also is very tough with the Chiefs and the Bills up and coming, and even the Jets too. They're looking really good for no reason. So it's like the AFC is strong. So they're gonna need that defense if they're gonna have a chance.
No, absolutely. And so the reason why I ask you about Roquan Smith is because when you look at, the Bills, you look at the Chiefs, especially the Bills, they went out and got Von Miller. That is a huge piece that they went and got, especially for the defense. Like, yes, their offense is going to compete at a high level, just like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, that, like, they're going to put up points, or Lamar, he's going to have himself a night. But then it comes down to that defense. What is that defense going to be able to do for you and be able to hold those leads that you have going into the fourth quarter? Because honestly, the Ravens should be 7-0 or 8-0, if they didn't lose those 3 games in the final, basically 4 minutes in the fourth quarter in those games that they lost. So when you look at it that way, I think that this proves their team tremendously. Like you said, I think it will help them win the AFC North this year, but it may not help them win and go to the Super Bowl this year, but it at least sets them up for success, especially since Lamar is playing for a new contract as well.
Yes, and like I said, they were up through a bunch of points in the fourth. If they can just give it one more stop, maybe Roquan's that piece that can get that one stop that they needed to hold on to the win. And he's a great leader too, so I know he can definitely help. He's definitely a big improvement to that defense.
Oh, exactly, absolutely, I agree with you there. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go into our big kind of thing that we're going to get into before our picks, because we have one more, is we're going to talk about Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields set the rushing yards record versus the Miami Dolphins. He ran for 178 yards. He tore them up on the ground. Mike McDaniel was literally telling him on the sidelines to stop it, to stop scrambling, to stop running, because he was tearing them up. Now, the Dolphins did get this win somehow, even with Lamar Jackson setting a record, but with him getting 178 yards, what does this tell you about Justin Fields, and is he the answer to come for the next few years?
I was watching some people talk about this earlier. It feels weird to see a quality quarterback in Chicago. And the best I had to deal with Jay Cutler, and he was always so bland. He brought no energy. Justin Fields brings that energy and excitement on the offensive end. I've never seen in the whole 15 plus years of watching Chicago. So now, I feel like he does bring that to the table. He broke a record that not even Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, or even Lamar Jackson's break.
That's what I thought. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Lamar Jackson doesn't have that record. How did Justin Fields has this record? So I thought that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be real interesting. And now we're just gonna have to midnight. We're going to have to see how, excuse me, to see how the Bears decide to protect, because the offensive, another reason why he got so many yards too is because the offensive line is terrible, and he had to scramble a lot. Now, like now that they're trying to give him more designed run plays, it's a little better. He's performing much more efficiently, so we'll just have to see how they finish up this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a bad offensive line, you can have rushing yards, and it's different when you look at Lamar Jackson because he's already running. Like, they have running plays for him, designed for him. So with Justin Fields being able to scramble, get out of the pocket and do what he's able to do, that's awesome. And and glad he was able to stay healthy through all that running. And like you said, he is the answer to for Chicago, because like you said, you've had so many mediocre quarterbacks. The best you had was Jay Cutler. Let that sink in, folks. Now you're on to Justin Fields, coming from Ohio State University, one of the best quarterbacks to come out of there. And I think he's going to play well, especially like you said, you build up that offensive line, and you got him a receiver in Chase Claypool, and hopefully other receivers to come that the next few years, they definitely are going to be competing for that NFC North division.
Yes, it's gonna be interesting. I'm still a little shook about the Vikings, and I really don't think that they're not legit. I don't know how they're 7-1 right now, but we'll come for it next year.
Do you know what the only loss the Vikings have is on prime time?
Mm-hmm.
That's their only loss.
Why they're not going to survive the playoffs, because every game's prime time.
That's true. Every game is prime time. So, we'll talk about that when we get to the Vikings. But we are now going to go over. Let me pull these up here. We are going to go over our MVP, because we didn't do it at the beginning of the season. I don't know how we skipped over that. But, now that it's halfway through the season, we want to give our predictions and see what's going to happen the rest of the way. We're also going to give our offense player of the year, our defense player of the year, and then our comeback player of the year. Now, we're going to start with the comeback player of the year and work all the way up to the MVP, because you got to do the MVP last, right?
Sir.
So, the comeback player of the year, I pulled up the odds that players are at. Saquon Barkley is minus 250. Geno Smith is at plus 700. Brian Robertson Jr. is at plus 700. Derrick Henry is at plus 1,000. And Christian McCaffrey is at plus 1,200. With these names being said, Biegel, who do you think wins comeback player of the year? Who do you got?
Man, it's real hard, because I really want to give it to Barkley, because he really hasn't been relevant since like 2019, and now he's out here on a tear. I think he's still, or he's at least top 3 in the league in rushing. But it's really hard to ignore what Geno Smith's been doing in Seattle.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, oh man.
I'm gonna give my vote to. I'm gonna go to Barkley on this one, just because he was out a little longer. What about you, my man?
That's true, and I feel I'm putting Barkley in there, Geno Smith in there, and then Christian McCaffrey, because he was riddled by injuries as well. And now that he he's playing pretty well, coming back this year. Then he gets traded to the 49ers. He, I think, was the first player in a long time, or if he's the only player, to have a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. Do you remember that just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, first person since Daniel Tomlinson, and
Yep.
joins him. Walter Payton is the only people to do it.
So I think that's crazy, and I think if he can keep that up and be on a tear, he potentially could win it. But, we love a good comeback story, and I think that it's going to come down between Geno Smith and Saquon Barkley. Now, what's scary about, the pick that I want to pick is, I keep saying this, and I think it's going to happen, Geno Smith is going to fall off. And I think that's the reason why I'm going to have to go with Barkley as well, because, like you said, he hasn't been relevant, and the Giants have been playing too good. They blew up their team. They're playing better. And I think the Giants actually keep up their winning streak and probably make the playoffs for, the first time in years. So I'm going Barkley as well with you.
Yeah, it would be nice to see New York in the playoffs again, because it's been since when OBJ was there, the famous boat pick, and then they blew it.
Man, they blew it, yes, sir. All right, now we got to go with defense player of the year. Let's find it right here. So at plus 100, you got Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. You've got Myles Garrett at plus 1,000. I know he's kind of been injured. He got in a car wreck this year and things like that. Then you got Nick Bosa at plus 1,200, and then Aaron Donald at plus 1,600. Beagle, what are your thoughts here? Do you think Micah Parsons can win it again?
That's real interesting. I know the Cowboys have been playing pretty good, and with Cooper Rush being their quarterback, and he's not a real elite. That you need a strong defense to keep you in games and keep you winning, and it's being led by Micah Parsons.
Actually, take that back. T.J. Watt won it last year. Sorry about that.
Yeah, T.J. Watt did win it last year. Man, I know Myles Garrett. He said he got in that car accident. I forgot about that. I'm trying to think of any other quality defensive players that might be stuck from this list. I think Sauce Gardner should be in the mentioning of this too. He's given up 30 yards all season, and he's blocked up by Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase. I saw the list earlier today, and there's some pretty notable names on there. I feel like Sauce Gardner should be at least mentioned with the Defensive Player of the Year. But,
absolutely.
I'm going to go Micah Parsons.
It's going to go.
No, give me Sauce Gardner is my Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, he's not even on this list. And Beagle, that means, man, if you go bet him on like FanDuel or DraftKings and he won, you make a lot of money. So maybe that is something to think about, guys. See, it's hard because you would think, okay, who's a beast on defense? Aaron Donald, 100%. But the Rams aren't playing good this year. Then you think about Nick Bosa, and he's pretty good, but just hasn't really been putting up the stats lately. Then you think about Myles Garrett, and it's like, man, Myles Garrett could probably be in here. And then I think about someone by the name of Chase Young, but he's out still because he tore his ACL last year. So, he could be in the mix as well. But I'm going to have to go with Parsons on this one because of what he's able to do and how special of a talent he really is.
So versatile, too.
Exactly. Now we got to do our Offense Player of the Year. Now, this one, so hard to pick. I think I know who I'm going to pick, but I'll go first and then I'll let Beal do it. But I'll name the players who are in the running and what their odds are. So Jalen Hurts is at plus 500. The Eagles are 8-0, soaring to 17-0 possibly. Lamar Jackson is at plus 600. Cooper Kupp is at plus 650. Justin Jefferson's at plus 800. And then you've got Stephon Diggs at plus 900. Now, Beagle, think about your answers for a second because I'm going to go first on this one. And Stephon Diggs, great player. He should be plus 900. Justin Jefferson, the Vikings are 7-1. Keep him at plus 800. Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown last year. I understand why he's plus 650. Lamar Jackson, plus 600. Move him to my Offense Player of the Year. I've got him winning Offense Player of the Year. The way he's been playing, the reason why they should be 7-0 or 8-0 is because of him. They're not because of that defense. So that needs to get fixed, and they did it with Roquan Smith. Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind, and they're 8-0. But look at their schedule. I don't think that they're going to go 17-0. And I think it's a good thing that they're not going to go 17-0. And I believe I've talked about this before. It'd be a good thing to lose so that you get humbled going into the playoffs. You don't want to be your first loss in the playoffs and then it be over with. So I think they either lose to the Giants because they played them twice, or they lose to the Cowboys. Those are the two teams I think they could lose to in the second half of the season. With that being said, Hurts is still playing out of his mind, but I think Lamar Jackson, the way he's playing and how hard he's fighting for a new contract and everything, I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Man, is this offensive or MVP? I forgot.
This is Offense Player of the Year.
All right, Offensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with another person who's not on this list. I'm very surprised that Kupp and Jefferson are over him, but give me Tyreek Hill. He's on pace to break Megatron's record and he has the most receiving yards since Isaac Bruce in 95 of most receiving yards through 9 games.
He is balling though, so.
How is he not? How is Justin Jefferson over him? That kind of blows my mind. And considering that he has Jalen Waddle, who's 5th in the league in receiving too, it really just blows my mind. But give me Tyreek Hill.
Give me Tyreek Hill.
You good?
All right, yep, I got it down. So now for the MVP, you've got, let's see here. No, I don't. It's bringing me to FanDuel. I clicked on the wrong link. Oh, well, that's okay. Dismiss. Okay. So for the MVP, you've got Patrick Mahomes at plus 175, the way that they've been balling. You've got Jalen Hurts at plus 250. You've got Josh Allen at plus 350. Tua at plus 1100. You got Lamar Jackson at plus 1100. This is on FanDuel, so you can go look it up so you can fact check me. And then you got Joe Burrow at plus 200. Now, I can't believe that. You got Geno Smith at plus 25. Tyreek Hill is a plus 7,500. So, Beagle, who do you got being your MVP down here, man?
I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. He's only turned the ball over, I think, 2 times, 3 times all season.
Mm-hmm.
And he just takes really good care of the ball, results in points, and he's been a true leader to an undefeated team. And they just don't be getting 3 and outs like they do, and they just know how to come out and make a statement. And he's been running the ball real well. He's been throwing the ball real well, just real efficient. I don't know. Some of the stats might not prove it, but give me Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like that pick a lot because, they're balling, they're flying, and arguably, it's hard to argue against that one because, yes, Patrick Mahomes is at plus 175, and then you got Josh Allen behind him at plus 350. Man, I don't know why they have Tua up. I don't know why Tua is up there so high, but he is. Man, I'm going to have to go with Patrick Mahomes. Not because I think this is a pick that I'm like, I just feel like I have to go with him, but because he's been playing so well. He's playing without his number 1 receiver, Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill, everyone was like, oh, if he leaves, what is Patrick Mahomes going to be like? How is he going to be able to ball? And, they're really showing that they can still get it done without them. I don't know their record yet. We'll be able to look it up when we do our picks, but I know one of their losses is to the Colts somehow, but, other than, really that loss, they've been playing pretty good this year. So I think Patrick Mahomes can definitely keep it up and potentially win the MVP for this year. But I think Jalen Hurts can also win it as well. So I don't think the MVP it's not down to one certain person. You know what I mean? Like it's not like we know who's going to win yet.
Right. I think he's leading the league in passing yards, if I'm not mistaken.
That could be possible.
Yep, he is.
Okay.
2,605.
Okay. All right. So now we go into our favorite part of the week. Our picks. This is where it gets juicy, guys. This is where we dive in. We really get to talk about the NFL teams that, have been doing good lately, have been doing bad. Like, what's their backstory? Everyone's got a backstory. So we'll just see what happens there. With our first game happening on Thursday Night Football, it's the Atlanta Falcons coming in and playing the Carolina Panthers. Now, please tell me why this is a Thursday night game, Beagle.
Because they like to put bad teams on Thursday night.
You're not lying. But who do you got for this one? I feel like I know who I'm going to go to, and I'm going to say it's the Atlanta Falcons. What's your pick here?
Guessed it right for me too, man. I'm going to go with the Falcons. This one. Marcus Mariota has been he hasn't been bad for them this year. Let me look up some stats for him.
No, he hasn't been playing bad at all. I do know that the Panthers QB is starting. I know Baker's benched once again, and their quarterback, I can't remember who their quarterback is, but he was in the XFL, and he's starting this Thursday night.
Yeah, it's kind of. I love that. This is another good success story for the XFL, and it just makes me excited. I know I saw The Rock and all them there announcing cities for 2023, but XFL making its comeback, and this I've never been more excited because when you look at all major sport teams, they have amazing semi-pro and amazing development leagues. NBA with the G League, baseball has 1 through AAA and all that. The NFL, they don't have anything like that really. They got college football. That's about it. And it's gives a chance for those people that don't get drafted to keep their dreams alive of playing the sport that they love. And for more success stories like this, so more players can come out of that.
Absolutely, I agree.
you see that Baker Mayfield playing defensive line tackle, like playing defensive tackle for the practice squad?
No, I did not see that. Where was that at?
I saw on Facebook later last week. They had like Baker Mayfield playing D tackle on the practice squad.
I wouldn't be surprised, bro. His career has not been what I thought it was going to be. So,
because like he brought the Browns, he ended the Browns playoff drought. He almost took him to the he gave the Chiefs a good run for their money.
Yeah.
And then just the Browns I feel like the Browns did him dirty by going for Deshaun Watson. And he should be getting ready to play soon too.
Week 11, he comes back next week.
Ooh.
So we'll see what the Browns can do with Deshaun Watson back in their lineup. But now we're going to go to our first Sunday game, and it's at 9:30. Now this game, I feel like it's not going to be too bad. Now this is a game that I could wake up for, but I probably won't. But it's between the Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Biegel, I'll let you go first on this one. Who you got over in Germany?
In Germany, yes, I was about to say that too. It's in Munich, right?
Yes, yep, I believe so.
That's crazy. It makes me happy that they're starting to globalize it, kind of like the NBA did in the '90s, and now they're 30 years later they're hopping on that trend. Who wins in Germany? Give me Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith and the Seahawks pull off this one. Who you got?
Now, this, I want to say Seahawks because they've just been playing better. I watched the Buccaneers play the Rams last week, and they barely got it done with, them driving down the field and in 60 seconds and, them scoring a touchdown, and they were able to win the game. Now, I really thought the Buccaneers were going to lose that game. I really did. Excuse me. I thought the Rams had it on lockdown, but with this game being overseas, with Tom Brady going over there, you could have a lot of people who love Tom Brady or hate Tom Brady. So I could see, everyone in the NFL, really rooting for the Buccaneers, for Tom Brady to get a win over there. But I've got to go Geno Smith and the Seahawks. They're just playing better.
Yeah, they're playing great. Geno's been real efficient. That rookie running back they got, I can't think of his name right now, but he's been
something
crazy.
Walker the third, I think.
Yeah, he has like a number in his name, but he's been playing crazy. Puts a little pressure off Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Buccaneers defense is just kind of been in, so
hasn't been playing the way that they should be. So yeah, Biegel and I are the same pick so far. So if we both win, awesome. If we both lose, man. So we're probably gonna disagree this week. I feel like, and we might disagree on this game right here. We've got the Detroit Lions coming in and playing the Chicago Bears. Biegel, I know who you're gonna pick. So you just want me to write it down?
Bear down, baby. You already know. Justin Fields been playing great 3 weeks in a row. I'm hoping for week 4. Lions got the worst defense in the league, giving up the most yards and most points. And the Bears are actually scoring points. I remember it was a struggle to score 17 points or even 14 points in a game. Now we're putting up 25, 30 consistently. So good moves. Give me the Bears. And it's in Soldier Field. Give me Chicago.
Yeah, so I actually was going to disagree with this pick, and I was going to go with the Lions, but I'm going to have to go with the Bears because, the Lions traded their tight end away, Hutchinson, to the Vikings for some considerations. I actually wrote it down. So for a 2023 second round and a 2024 third round. So, the Lions are getting some picks here, but, having, missing a weapon and, not having everyone on your team that you have and, getting trades and things like that, it's just not, you have to build team chemistry and you build it during the season, but, losing players definitely doesn't help. So I'm going Bears as well. Like you said, they're in a hot streak, so let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm. Who you got for this next one?
All right, we've got the Browns coming in and playing the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Browns are going and playing in the Florida heat. It's not as hot right now, because we're getting in the winter months. But I think that until Deshaun Watson comes back, that's when I'll start looking at the Browns a little bit different. Give me Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Mr. Tua. Let's go with it. Miami Dolphins, we're swimming.
I'm going to be swimming with you, man, because Dolphins have just been looking great so far. So they almost lost to the Bears, but it was just a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
Out here at the Browns, really don't have anybody on the defensive end. So I feel like it's gonna be a day for Hill and Waddle.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're gonna run. They're gonna run. Next, you've got the Denver Broncos coming off a bye week. They didn't play last week. They were in London the week before, playing the Tennessee Titans. Now, I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's coming back for them or not, but Malik Willis got the start last week versus the Chiefs. They played the Chiefs, right? Yeah, they did. And they lost actually 20-17, not too bad. But, man, I don't know if I want to go Broncos here and that's ride, or if I think Derrick Henry gets it done. I think, Malik Willis needs to, step it up and, start getting more experience. Because I saw him versus the Chiefs, he was not throwing the ball away. He was getting sacked a lot trying to get out of the pocket. And that just comes with better experience throwing the ball away and actually, having more pocket awareness. So I'm going Denver Broncos. Let's ride.
You're riding with the Broncos. That's good. I actually feel like this will be a pretty good game. The one thing going right for the Broncos this year has been their defense. They've been holding opponents down to very low scores. However, the unusual part is that they went out and got Russell Wilson to go get points. So their defense can hold them to 14 points, and Russ can go out there and throw for a couple of touchdowns, but it has not been the case. You said earlier that if someone can break Tom Brady's record, it'd be Patrick Mahomes. I think if anyone can break Emmitt Smith's rushing record, it's Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to disagree on this one. I think the Titans are going to do it. I know the game against the Chiefs last week, I think it went into OT, if I'm not mistaken.
It did actually. And they lost a coin toss, and Patrick Mahomes went down there and kicked a field goal, and they won.
And that just adds to your case for an MVP, so.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Now, let's go to the next game, which is the Minnesota Vikings playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, I think this game is our game of the week at the 1 o'clock series. Now, this could potentially could have been a Sunday night game, but, we're going to go with our 1 o'clock game of the week, Vikings versus the Bills. Biegel, who you got here?
Vikings versus the Bills. I'm going with the Bills on this one. Like I said earlier, I think the Vikings are the most overrated 7-1 team ever. Just Dalvin Cook, I have him on my fantasy team, and he's just not putting up the amount of points as I thought he would. Justin Jefferson's been out here producing every other week. It's something about the Vikings is just not. I just know they should have lost more games, but had some lucky bounces to go their way to get the win. The Bills are very disciplined. Their Vikings defense is so, and I know Josh Allen can get that done. So give me the Bills.
I like that pick. I've got the Bills winning the AFC South or the AFC this year, and this is a big game since the Vikings are 7-1. I know Josh Allen is banged up a little bit. I don't know how much that's going to affect him going into this game, but like you said, the Vikings don't know how they're 7-1, and the Bills just have a great defense. And like you said, Dalvin Cook hasn't been playing too well, and so I think that Bills defense is really gonna help win the Bills this game, and so I'm going to go Bills as well. I wanted to disagree, but I can't with this pick. Can't with this one. Then your next 1 o'clock game, you've got the Houston Texans coming off a bye week playing the New York Giants, who had a bye week as well, I believe. Yes, they did. Now that teams are getting bye weeks, now I've got to be changing my fantasy lineup constantly now. I think that this game is actually going to be a lot closer than what a lot of people think, but I think the Giants come out by 3, so I'm going Giants here.
I was going to say, if I went for this is my trap game of the week, I feel like this game is going to be a great contest. Damian Pierce is a beast.
He is, yes, he is.
So is Saquon Barkley. So I feel like this is going to be a battle of the running backs with subpar defenses. I know that I can't remember the Giants' new head coach, but he's real solid. So I feel like his coaching style and technique is definitely what's going to make a difference coming down to it. Lovie Smith still coaches the Texans. Just for the sake of disagreement, I'm going to go with the Texans.
All right, going with the Texans. Like I said, that's not a bad pick because the Texans have been keeping games close this year. So at least some of them.
But I'm giving props for that because no one really expected them to be much of anything. But they're out there competing. They have a bunch of young bucks. I feel like they need to do what the Giants did and find a coach that can talk to these youngins and make them, put a little fire in them and get them to do what they need to do.
Exactly, my guy. So that's a good game this week, the Texans versus Giants, and then you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in and playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the Jaguars haven't played too bad this year. They've kind of been playing better than what I thought, but then again, the AFC South is trash this year, so there's that. But I think the Chiefs win this game pretty easily, so I'm going Chiefs here.
Me too. Nothing much to say right here. Just the Chiefs. Chiefs are real good. They're at home. Jags been subpar.
If the Chiefs blow this game, though, I swear. Like, I feel like this would be the one game that would screw you over in your parlay.
Right.
I really do. I do. And then at 1 o'clock for your next game, you've got the Saints coming in and playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are on a bye week as well. The Steelers haven't been playing well this year. The Saints have not been playing well this year. They might bench Andy Dalton and start with Jameis Winston, which they should, or start with Taysom Hill. I don't really know. But, Beagle, who do you got for this one?
Yeah, and Steelers getting rid of Chase Claypool too. Lose another aspect to their offense. And Najee Harris has just been a dud this year. Nothing has gone right for the Steelers offense. I'm going to go with the Saints on this one. I don't know why they're not starting Jameis Winston. He's always been better than Andy Dalton. I feel like he's always been better than Andy Dalton despite throwing.
That's what I'm saying.
So I thought Jameis Winston was hurt, but now they're just not playing him.
Which doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I know you're playing Taysom Hill as well, but still, if you want to win games, you need to put the right quarterback in there. And I wanted to disagree with you on this pick here, but I just can't because the Steelers just haven't showed me really anything this year. So I'm going with Saints as well. Then for our next game, we've got the Indianapolis Colts coming in and playing the Raiders. Now, maybe Jeff Saturday gets his first win. The Raiders haven't been playing too well. They actually should be winning more games. The Raiders are actually 2-6. Who would have thought that, getting Devontae Adams?
That's great. Everyone thought the AFC West was going to be so good this year. But the Broncos, they're trash. Raiders, trash. Chargers have been so I feel like everyone thought the Chargers were going to be real good this year, but they kind of been equal to what they were last. Maybe a step back from last year.
Yeah.
Despite them going out and getting Khalil Mack. So, I would love to see Saturday. Like I said, shook the world. No one saw it, and now he come out here and it's his first. I'm going with the Colts on this one.
It's going with the Colts on this one. Now, Beagle, if you lose this matchup, you've picked the Colts 2 weeks in a row. They would be giving you 2 losses back to back.
Then I'll know next week to pick whoever they play against.
Exactly. I'm going Raiders here just because I feel like Devontae Adams, needs to have a big productive week. I think he at least goes for 2 touchdowns here and 120 yards and 10 receptions. So I think Devontae Adams is going to have him a day here. But then again, that Colts defense is still good. So I'm not too sure. This game is probably going to be a low-scoring game. I'm taking the under on this game. All right, that is your first 4:05 game of the week. And then at 4:25, you got the Cardinals coming in and playing the LA Rams. Now, everyone thought this division was going to be really good as well. Just like you said about the AFC West, we thought the NFC West was going to be playing really good. But, the Cardinals are not playing well. They're actually 3-6. The Rams are 3-5. The Seahawks have a better record than them, actually. If we go to it, they're 6-3. So I just don't know what's going on with this division. It's hard because it's not like I have a definite answer here of, I think the Cardinals are going to win or, I think the Rams are going to win. But, I think the Rams should be able to get it done. They have more firepower. But, DeAndre Hopkins is going to play well. But I've got the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. I thought I read something that Kyler Murray might not play. Or he was facing some injury. I don't know if his thumb hurts from the Call of Duty game that came out. I'm going with the Rams on this one, too.
Going with the Rams. Like I said, the NFC, what we thought in the beginning of the season is not shaping out. So then it's just harder to make picks.
Makes our job a little harder.
So we only have 3 games at 4:25. The next game at 4:25, which this is a Fox game, always will be, as long as we have a Fox channel. It's the Dallas Cowboys playing the Green Bay Packers. Beagle, do you see the Packers losing 6 in a row?
I hope so. I do. Aaron Rodgers has looked awful this season.
Terrible.
And as a fan, I love it. I love seeing Aaron Rodgers struggle. And I don't like seeing anybody struggle, ever. But I make the exception for him. But yeah, it's just, and they're going against an amazing defense in the Cowboys. You know, Parsons is the front runner of MVP. Diggs is out here getting interceptions, and it's just funny because a lot of people are blaming like the wide receivers, you know, for the Packers being bad. But if you look, Aaron Rodgers never showed up to OTAs or any like practice in the beginning of the year to help establish like chemistry amongst these wide receivers.
That is true. Yeah, a lot of people forget that.
You know, he got blamed, and like Aaron Rodgers took that huge paycheck, so like, you know, so he can get paid. And, you know, where's the money to help replace Devontae Adams? You know,
That's such a good question because, you know, it's kind of like you don't feel sorry for him because he dug himself his own hole, his own grave, and
he's
now,
done it.
yeah. And so, do you know how long he signed his deal for?
Look that up right now.
Because I don't know if it's a 2 years or 3 years. Because if so, he's SOL. Because I'm saying, hey, you better retire, or, you know, get traded.
150 million next 3 years.
Ooh, I hope he has a player option in there. Or I hope he can get traded because Green Bay is not his destination to retire in. And, you know, you're going Cowboys. You know, I'm going Cowboys as well, just for all the reasons that you just mentioned and I just mentioned as well. So Green Bay is actually, if we look at their record, they are 3-6. I don't think they win 5 games this year, dude.
I'd have to look and see what their schedule looks like, but I hope they don't.
And you know
I hope they at last.
And the crazy part about that is you and I both had them in the playoffs. I had them as a divisional winner. You had them in a wild card position.
And they might not even make a wild card at this rate.
So that's just crazy.
The Bears can start winning, like turning this good play into wins. They might snag that last wild card spot. Actually, no, I take that back because the NFC East has 3 playoff teams in it. So it's just like, I don't know if, you know, that, like, I don't think the Bears can take that last one just because there's just so many good records.
Mm-hmm. And you also have to be able to win tiebreakers as well. You know, I think that goes in consideration as when you do it as well. So they definitely have to win as many games as possible and the right games as well.
Yes.
Whew, 2 games left. Sunday night football. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers coming in and playing the 49ers. Now, primetime games, I feel like they're always a little slow. You know what I'm saying, Beagle?
Yeah, I get that.
They just have a different vibe about them.
They had like fireworks and, you know, like a real explosive.
So, I just, like you said, the Chargers have been kind of whoa lately, and they're coming off a bye as well. They're 5-3 though, and the 49ers are 4-4, which they should have a better record. And I think they improve their record and go above 500, and so I'm going with the 49ers because of Christian McCaffrey and the addition. I think he's going to help them. Debo Samuel's going to come back. I know he was hurt last week. You know, they're coming off a bye week as well. So both these teams are coming off a bye week. And let's see who can continue and carry that momentum out of the bye week, getting healthy and moving on to the rest of the season. I'm going 49ers.
I'm going to roll for 49ers too. I feel like
McCaffrey, pick a different pick.
Like a scary, terrible nightmare for defenses because they both can throw, they both can run, and they both can. I already said throw, but you know, there's just so much. You know, they both have so many dimensions to their game, and then when you got a defense like, you know, you can focus just on Debo, but now you got to focus on Chris McCaffrey at the same time, and then you got George Kittle, a big dude that can come across the middle. So there's so many different elements. And I don't think, and the Chargers defense has honestly been a letdown this year, so give me the 49ers.
I understand. I think that is honestly. I think that's going to be a better Sunday night game than what we think. So I'm okay with that being a Sunday night game. Our Monday night game. I know who I'm going to pick. Beagle knows who's he's going to pick, but we'll still give our case. You've got the Washington Commanders coming in and playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Beagle, do you think this is a game that the Eagles slip up and lose, or do they keep their pedal, or do they keep their foot on the pedal?
I feel like they do keep their foot on the pedal. I know Carson Wentz is hurt, and they got Tyler Heineke in,
Which isn't too bad, but I said Tyler Heineke isn't too bad, but just
it's not horrible. They got that rookie running back. I think his name Brian Robinson.
I think so. Yes.
He's been in a small bright spots. Terry McLaurin too. The two bright spots on this team. But the Eagles' defense has just been historically putting up crazy numbers and just taking the ball away and just getting heavy quarterback pressure. And give me the Eagles.
9-0 Eagles. I agree with that pick as well. I'm going Eagles. And yes, this is an NFC East showdown. And I believe that, the Eagles, pull this out. They'll be good to go. But, like you said, the Commanders, just everything you gave for them, I think, with their head coach and everything that's just still going on for them, they're not going to get this win. Like I said, we'll talk about the Eagles again every single week because they are the hottest team in football. And I'm just excited to see a team still go undefeated because, you're always like, okay, what team has the best chance to stay undefeated as long as they possibly can? And I really didn't think the Eagles were going to, but now to see where they are, I understand why they're undefeated and for so long.
I took a peek at their schedule coming up, and I don't know, man. They do have a good chance of going the whole way undefeated.
They do. I agree.
The Giants and the Cowboys. I think we play the Titans too. Those are the three teams I think that might give us something. But I'm not too worried about the Cowboys, and it's just going to depend how we play against Saquon Barkley. Honestly,
that is true. Yeah.
And then, like I said, I'd rather get that, like you said, get that humbling loss during the season than that loss in the playoffs and be done.
Exactly. So we'll see how the Eagles can do and where they're going to be come the end of the season. Do they finish strong 17-0 and carry that momentum into the playoffs, or do they get that one humbling loss and then move on and go into the playoffs as well? We'll see. We will find out. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And we can't wait to see you again next week. Next week will be week 11. We'll bring even more and exciting football. Now, this is the halfway point through the season. And from here on out, we've got football until January, or until February, actually, when the Super Bowl is played. And once again, we will do the playoff matchups and see there. So our records will still keep going. Everything will be going just like it has. There will be an NBA podcast here coming soon. Just want to keep everybody updated on that. I haven't made one yet just because the NBA just got started. And, you kind of got to let the season, get a grip. But one of those will be coming out. So once again, thank you, everyone, for watching, paying attention. And until next time, see you later.